Yes. So let's start. Let's start with the dev blog posts. Before we do, I do know that there's a lot of Soviet thingy going around. I didn't like. I told you before. I like to go through these dev blog posts for the first time, live on stream. So I didn't go through all of them, but I went through some of them because I wanted to make sure that at least I understand something. Not everything is completely clear, but yeah. So I do know there's going to be a lot of Soviet thingies. So I have prepared myself, and I'm ready. I could not be more ready if I fucking tried. So whatever the Soviets have to throw at us, we'll go through it together. Let's go. Okay. So, changes to IFHE and plating. That is the first thing, the first dev blog post that we're gonna be doing. I guess I could throw my cam on this one as well. 1 second, that would be video capture device. That would be a face cam. We'll put it down here. Zoop. Okay, give me a second. Let me crop this shit. Don't need that. And don't need that. And then we can just enlarge it. Put it in the bottom. Yeah, I guess. Did I cut too much? Okay, cut like this. And like this. Professional. Okay, so we continue to test. I'm sorry, some Mad Max thinks it's a great idea to drive 150 kilometers per hour in a fucking city on a bike. We're going to do... Let's start over. We continue to test the modified plating for cruisers and tier 6 to 7 battleships, as well as the updated inertia fuse. I can't read today. What the fuck is wrong with me? Inertia fuse for HE shells. You can quite clearly see that I didn't spend too much time in the last 2 days talking. I was just like, League. I'm just gonna play some League. I don't care. The world is on fire. I don't care. I'm just gonna play some League. Oh, look. A champion I like. Today we would like to tell you about the upcoming changes and the reasoning behind them. We are going to closely monitor the impact of these changes on both the general game balance and the individual battle efficiency of certain ships. If necessary, the IFHE skill and some ships may yet be subject to additional balance corrections to maintain their efficiency. The main goal we want to achieve with these changes. Now, this is something... I haven't read this, I've just watched a video. But the whole main goal that they're going for seems wrong, but let's go through it. The interaction between cruisers of the same tier should be obvious. For example, cruiser HE shells with a caliber of 152 to 155 millimeters should penetrate the armor of cruisers of the same tier without additional conditions. So the way that they're doing this, at least the way it sounds they're doing this, is they're buffing the penetration of HE shells on the cruisers with a caliber between 152 and 155 millimeter cannons, which means those guns will not need IFHE anymore to penetrate the cruisers of the same tier. But that's a buff. They can still take IFHE. So whatever IFHE was giving them before is going to be giving them even more now. This will make gameplay on certain cruisers more comfortable and make the inertia fuse for HE shell skill optional for them. Now this is something that Wargaming wants to do. The cruisers of basically between 152 and 155, if you want to be at least any efficient with these cruisers, you absolutely have to take that IFHE skill, because without it, you pretty much have 90% of your shells shatter, And yes, they can cause fire, and without IFHE, it's a bit of an increased chance of fire, but people just repair fire anyway. And if it takes you 100 shells to set someone on fire, even if you're shooting fast, you're gonna be missing something. They're gonna repair it, they're gonna disappear. You're not gonna do any damage. So what Wargaming wants to do is Wargaming wants to make a lot of skills, including IFHE, optional. You can go for it, but you can play without it, which is fine, but I think the way that they're approaching this might be wrong. Second, increase cruiser survivability. I mean, changes to plating thickness will make cruisers more resilient to battleship salvos in the position if the positioning is correct. If the positioning is correct. I'm not sure. I would like a bit of an explanation on this one. What exactly does that mean? If I'm too close, is that my positioning is incorrect? If I'm far enough away and I get hit, I'm gonna be blessed by not getting damaged? Are they meaning of that? Which means that if you stay longer, if you stay further away, battleships are gonna be not able to do much to you? Or do they mean how you angle? Because if you angle correctly with the proper armor that you have, you're just gonna be ricocheting everything. Either way, playing a battleship against cruiser is gonna start being even more how do you say it, infuriating, tilting right now, because a lot of battleships suffer from a really shitty dispersion unless you're like close to medium range. And if a cruiser plays it correctly and he stands on a maximum range, as let's be honest, most cruisers should be, what are battleships going to be able to do? Honestly, I'm very curious to see how this is going to work. Because right now the shells tend to ricochet and overpen cruisers way too much. And now with them increasing this armor, you're telling me that they're going to be ricocheting even more. Should cause less overpens, hopefully. But I don't know. Like, how many times did we see a cruiser that should get absolutely obliterated in 1 or 2 volleys survive everything you have to throw at him? Whether he was making a mistake or not. I don't know. I'm all for buffing the survivability of cruisers a bit. Because, like I said, I think all cruisers should have heal. Because it's an absolute shit show to play. It's a problem. You take a cruiser, you play it, you get spanked one time. Just one shell hits you where it shouldn't be, and half of your health is gone, or even more, depending on the tier. And you can't heal unless you're tier 9 or 10. What are you going to do for the rest of the game? You're just going to run all the way back on the other side of the map.
6 months goes so fast.
Or you're going to die.
Here's to our 3rd trimester. Keep being special.
Thank you, Jones. Appreciate it. Welcome to Gold, and thank you for 6. So, I don't know. Like, I think heal would be a much better option, but I'm having a restraint towards this, because I am kind of happy the cruisers are getting buffed, but in the same time, like, how is 1 versus 1 gonna work? If a cruiser plays it properly, regardless of how properly Battleship plays, there's still RNG involved. And what this means is that Battleship's RNG towards cruiser is going to be even harder now. If this guy is positioned or angled correctly. So I'm a bit worried what this will mean for like 1 versus 1. Like, if a cruiser can kill a battleship in 1 versus 1 that easy because he's done everything properly, even though battleship is doing everything properly, then that's not good. Cruiser should not be able to kill a battleship in 1 versus 1. Just like destroyer shouldn't be able to kill a cruiser in 1 versus 1. But I don't know. We'll see. I would rather go for heals so that when you do get spanked and you're absolutely able to get spanked, I would rather you be able to heal some of that back, you know, lick your wounds, than not be able to get spanked at all. We'll see. Use differences in armor to maintain the uniqueness of cruisers with a gun caliber of 190 millimeters, more compared to those with a caliber of 139 to 189. The first group of ships will have a central box of increased armor. I'm guessing when you cut out the bow and the stern, like the midsection, when they mean the central box of increased armor plating, and the second one will have only an improved deck. So they're creating two different sets of cruisers. One which will simply have the entire, well, I don't know if they mean the entire deck from bow to stern that's going to be reinforced. So from long range fire, the plunge should be more ricochet. I don't know. Or do they mean just the central? But I think they probably mean the entire deck is going to be reinforced, while the others will have weak bow and weak stern, but they will have the entire midsection reinforced. This is going to be a big change. Maybe it doesn't sound like a big change, but I think this is going to be an actually big change with battleship versus cruiser interaction. We'll see. We'll see how this is going to work. Like, I'm having a restraint right now with giving my final thoughts or anything, because I honestly don't know. When wargaming does something, it's a very, very double-edged sword, whether it's good or is it bad. Like, Smolensk was supposed to be one of the most easily killable cruisers, and we both know that's not the case. At least now. So, what do? Do you buff its armor to make it be more killable? Because that makes sense. Or do you nerf its armor to make it more killable, but then again, increase the chance of even more overpens? Like, when it comes to wargaming and World of Warships, it's very hard to interpret how the changes that they're doing are going to have an actual effect in the battle, which is why the more time goes by, the more I'm trying to be like, okay, let's just fucking wait and see. Maintain interclass interaction in its current state. Cruisers with 152 to 155 millimeter caliber will still not be able to penetrate the plating of the same tier battleships without IFHE. Okay. Rebalance the inertia fuse for HE shells skills so that the combination of its positives and negatives affects players' choice, thereby making the skill non-essential and encouraging variation in cruiser commander builds. Yes, I do understand this. Like I've already said at the beginning, they're basically trying to diversify a bit. They're trying to give you options, like what do you actually go for. But if you are a cruiser with 152 to 155 millimeter guns, what do you go for if not this? If you're really high tier 9 and 10 cruiser, you are probably going to go like priority target, then you're going to go AR, then you're going to go...
Thanks for all the training videos and the constant explaining. Helped me a lot to improve my gameplay.
Thank you for 4 months, Redonus, and I'm glad it was useful, dude. If you're tier 9 and 10, you can go like priority target, AR, and then superintendent, because you get an extra heal, because all tier 9 and tier 10 cruisers get a heal, and then you go for concealment expert, and you got a 10-point captain. And then you decide, do you go for BFT if that's influencing your guns, if you're like really low caliber? If you're a bit higher caliber, do you simply take BFT for boost to your AA? Do you go for demolition expert? Probably. You don't give a shit about BFT or anything else, you just go for demo expert. And then you have, if I'm not mistaken, like 6 more points to go for. You can go for another tier 2 and you can go for another tier 4. What do you take? Unless your guns are really slow, like everything else in tier 2 is not that relevant. You can maybe go for jack of all trades. All the other tier 3s are not that good either. And all the tier 4s are not that good either. I mean, Wargaming kind of destroyed the AA skills, which were the strongest and the most wanted and powerful skills. So What are you going to go for? You're going to go for IFHE anyway. Low caliber cruisers. High caliber cruisers, probably not. Because high caliber cruisers are usually, you know, big, heavy cruisers. And you might want to go for a bit on survivability and stuff like that. So, I don't know. We'll see. Changelog. The inertia fuse for HE shell skills is changed as follows. HE shell armor penetration boost will depend on the tier of the ship. Tier 1 to 7 ships plus 25% HE shell armor penetration. And from tier 8 to 10 plus 30% HE shell armor penetration. Now, I didn't exactly go into the game and take a couple of ships to compare. Not with this, I did with something else. How much exact penetration is an exact ship gonna have? We can deal with that later. But I did go and see how the IFHE is going to, because they're changing the IFHE values in general. I did check on one ship how much this is going to be, well, 2 ships, how much this is going to influence, and we're going to go through that later. Now the skill will reduce the chance to cause fire by 50%. Now this is what I checked. Instead of subtracting 1 or 3% depending on the caliber. The penalty only affects the basic chance of set fire. Other bonuses, like for example from Victor Lima Signal or Demolition Expert skill, will increase the chance to set fires in the same way as before. The skill gave sizable boost without correspondingly significant penalty, which made it almost mandatory. The new variant will bring the efficiency of the skill back to normal. Now let's jump into the game real quick and let me explain to you real quick what I've been looking at. So if I go to Harugumo, for example, I send the captain to reserve and I demount these 2 signals. The base fire chance of these 100mm guns is 5%. You can see it right here. See? Chance of HE shells causing a fire on target, 5%. So, if I don't take Demo Expert, if I don't put the flags, if I don't take IFHE, the base is 5%. Right now, if I would take IFHE, here's what it says. Armor penetration capacity of HE shells with a caliber of up and including 139mm plus 30%. Armor penetration capacity of HE shells with a caliber exceeding 139 plus 30%. So whether it's below 139 or above 139, it's 30% more armor penetration. The new IFHE skill is going to be from tier 1 to 7, 25%. It's going to be regardless of gun caliber. It's going to be based on which tier of the ship it is. And if you're from tier 1 to 7, the penetration is going to be 25. If you're from tier 8 to 10, penetration is going to be 30. So for Harugumo, this doesn't change. Because he's a tier 10, it will still stay 30%. One thing that will change, however, Big Bang, thank you for 16, dude, appreciate it. Chances of fire being caused by HE shells. Can you actually see this? Yes, you can. I forgot my camel's on the left. Chances of fire being caused by HE shells with a caliber up to and including 139, minus 1%. Which means, when I go here, that 5% gets cut by minus 1%. So my fire chance goes from 5 to 4. That's the only penalty that this IFHE skill is bringing. Minus 1 because my gun caliber is pretty low. If these were higher caliber guns than 139, if they were like 152 or 156, then 155 or 203s, whatever, chances of fire being caused by HE shell with a caliber above 139 would be minus 3, which means if these guns if they were higher caliber and they still had 5% chance, I would go from 5 to 5% fire chance. Now, that will be a significant blow. However, because these guns are lower caliber, or equal to 139, I only lose 1% of fire chance. Now we're getting to the point where things are going to be changing a bit to very much for the ships in the future. Right now, without Demo Expert and with IFHE, on Harugumo, I lost 1%. I go here, I slot Witherer Flag, which gives me 0.5% fire chance, and I slot India X-Ray, which gives me another 5%. What do I get? 5%. So right now, Harugumo can take IFHE with 2 sets of flags and have 30% increased penetration and the same fire chance as before. That's the current Harugumo with the current IFHE. When the new IFHE hits, we're gonna have a different thing. If we go, we demount these flags, and we remove this mess now. We remove the captain. The fire chance for Harugumo, as far as I know, should stay the same. So if we go here, it's gonna be 5%. Now, the way the new IFHE works is I will still get 30% more penetration, but I will lose 50% of the base fire chance, which means my base fire chance is 5%. I'm gonna get that to 2.5%. My question to Wargaming is, are they gonna round it up, round it down, or keep it at exactly 2.5? Because right now, I don't think there is a single ship in the game, at least to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's very, very much doable. I don't know if there's a single ship in the game that has 12.5% fire chance, or 17.5. It's usually a round number. So, with the new IFHE, my fire chance, let's say it goes down to 2.5. So, I take my captain. Oh, piss off. I put the captain, and IFHE is there. My cause to fire chance here is going to be not 4, it's going to be 2.5. So with that 2.5, we pump it up to 3, we pump it up to 3.5. So what they basically did is they nerfed the fire chance of Harugumo for 1.5%. Instead of each shell having 5% chance of fire, each shell is going to have 3.5% fire chance. So another question that I have for Wargaming is, does this mean that my fire chance that I currently have is getting cut by 20-30%? Between 5 and 3.5, it's like, I don't know, 30-ish%. Or do they have like a mechanic in place which from 5 to 3.5, it's not actually that big of a difference. Instead of setting 10 fires, I'm gonna set 9. Or instead of setting 10 fires, am I gonna set 6 or 5? Because it's crazy when you think about it, but from 97% fire chance to 95.5, it's not that big of a deal, right? You still pretty much expect almost every shell to cause a fire. But from 5% fire chance to 3.5, that's already really low, to 30% lower of what you already have. Now, Wargaming has a very, very complex mechanic behind all of this, and I'm not exactly sure. I will be asking them about these things and see what more detailed info I can get, and I'm sure they will try to enlighten us even more. But what this is going to mean is, if you want your Harugumo to stay, I'm just giving you an example for Harugumo. If you want your Harugumo to stay the same as it is right now before the IFHE nerf, it's a kind of a buff nerf. I would have to go in my captain and put Demo Expert. Now, Demo Expert would buff my fire chance by 2%, which means with the new IFHE that's coming, I put IFHE, I put Demo Expert and Flags, I would be buffing it to 5.5. And right now I have 5 without Demo Expert. If I do this, and I still want to have 5 or 5.5% fire chance on my Harugumo, because I think it's crucial, for example, I don't know, I would have to give up one of these skills. I would have to either give up a couple of thousand HP, and if you're a tier 10, you get 350 HP per tier, which means you're giving up 3,500 HP. And don't forget, Harugumo does take a lot of damage from battleships. Masada, thank you for 3. Welcome to Silver. I either have to give up this, or I have to give up a bit of Daka. And that's what the Harugumo is about. It's about Daka. So I lower my HP, or I lower my DPM, or I accept the lower fire chance. That's the IFHE. Now, I don't know if this is going to be an exactly 30% nerf to an existing Harugumo, or is this going to be a really, really minor nerf. That really depends how the wargaming's behind-the-scene mechanic of fire chance actually works. Where this is going to be significantly influential in a negative way is, for example, the ship that I personally don't play, and I don't like it, but I've talked to Stats Bloke, and he's like, what about Yoshino? He told me that on his Yoshino, he does have IFHE. Right now, I don't have IFHE slotted on this. So, but I do have Demo Expert. So, let's go, and let's send this captain to reserve, and let's take a look at artillery. Also, let me remove the flags. Remember, it's only base. The flags and Demo Expert are on top of what everything already happens behind the scenes. So that you have to demount that to do correct calculations. So this gun, these are 310mm guns. They have 27% fire chance. 50% will bring these guns down to only 13.5% fire chance. If you put Demo Expert on top of that, that's gonna be 15.5. And if you put flags on top of that, that's gonna be 16.5. Right? So 16.5% fire chance on guns that reload like 16 seconds, instead of the current 27 plus flags 28 plus Demo Expert 30 minus the IFHE that's currently minus 3, so 27. If you put flags and Demo Expert right now on big caliber cruisers, 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 2, flag, Demo Expert, that's 3%. If you go to the current IFHE skill, shit, which one did I have actually? Okay, this one is not slotted, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you go to the current IFHE, chances of fire being caused by HE shells with a caliber above 139, minus 3%. So 27% plus 0.5 plus 0.5 is 28, plus Demo Expert is 30, minus 3 is back to 27. So right now, on a big caliber cruisers, if you do put flags and if you do put Demo Expert, you don't lose anything. So you basically don't lose anything. With the new IFHE, you're gonna be cut down by like 10-12% of fire chance in total, even with all the buffs. So this IFHE that's coming is a huge nerf to big caliber guns. And this is where I have my problem. A lot of big caliber guns can play without IFHE anyway. Okay, dude. The problem that we have with IFHE is not the high caliber guns. It's the low caliber guns. This is where I think the wargaming is making a crucial mistake to begin with when they approach the IFHE change. It's not the Conqueror, it's not the Azuma, it's not Yoshino that we struggle with. I mean, yes, we do kind of struggle with Conqueror, but I don't need IFHE on Conqueror, that's the point. I don't need to cut my 40-something% fire chance down to 20 because of IFHE. I can
5
play
months
without
fly
it.
by with the kind of fun I have while watching your stream. And I like the new workout thing you are doing. You should be careful before you become a proper role model for us, Tongue.
Thank you, Rinswind. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for 5 and kind words of encouragement. We will continue with that today. So my problem when I was reading or listening about this was I think the Wargaming has completely missed what the IFHE should be about. The ships we are struggling with, the most toxic and broken ships in this game, are ships between 100mm caliber and 155. Take a look in game. Everything that has guns between 100 and 155 is extremely toxic for the game. The lower you go, the more toxic they get, Smolensk excluded. So, and this nerf is basically lowering the fire chance on those cruisers a bit, or destroyers a bit, couple of percent, but the big ships, which are not that big of a problem, they're taking a massive nerf to their fire chance. I mean, I'm sorry, Wargaming, but these big caliber guns on the big cruisers have less guns, less fire chance, not less fire chance, smaller rate of fire. They reload a lot longer, and they have less guns. They're not the problem. The problem are smaller caliber guns. Why are 152, 155, 130, 139, 110, 100, why are those guns so freaking effective against everything in this game? That is where the problem is, in my opinion. I think Wargaming should focus on that. Those things need rebalancing, aka nerfs, not the big guns. The big guns are reloading super slow anyway. I mean, if I'm wrong, you let me know, but that's my opinion. Let's continue. The rule for calculating armor penetration of all HE and SAP shells was changed. Currently, an HE shell will only penetrate armor thickness lower than the shell's penetration value. With the change, this is the buff part. With the change, an HE shell will not only be able to penetrate armor thickness that are lower than its penetration value, but also those that are equal to it. In this way, 152mm shells on tier 7 cruiser will be able to penetrate 25mm plating, whereas currently the penetration is 24. So this is the buff part of IFHE. Right now, when you do the calculation of the formula and yada yada yada, which I'm not going to go in detail right now, but when you do the calculation and you realize that the number is 27, you basically have to go -1. And that's the penetration that you have. Which means you cannot penetrate 27mm bows, or if your final number is 25, you have to go -1, which means you can pen 24. You cannot pen 25 bows and plates and stuff. Which was like, damn, just
Good
1
morning,
millimeter.
sir. Keep up the good work.
Good morning, Thumper. Thank you for 5. Will do. So, what they're doing right now is they're basically increasing the penetration by that 1mm across everything. Because right now, if your final number is 25, you will penetrate 25. You won't have to go -1. So, this is actually a buff. You will be penetrating more. And you will be able to cross additional threshold, which you couldn't before. So, okay. For tier 8 to 10 ship with a 152 to 155mm caliber guns, the rule of 1/5 of the caliber will be applied when calculating their HE shells armor pen. The above changes will let HE shells of these ships penetrate up to 30mm of plating on tier 8 and 10 cruisers. With the changes, cruisers with 152 to 155 millimeter guns will be able to penetrate each other's armor without the need of IFHE skill. Okay. So, if we... Hold on a second. Okay. If we take a look at this. Caliber of the... Can you actually see everything right now? Let me see. There's a couple of words cut. This is respectively. Penetrating respectively, you can see everything else. Okay. And down here it says changes to penetration rules will not affect the gameplay of ships with any other calibers, just to make sure that you can see that as well. Alright, so caliber of main battery guns or secondary armament. 180 millimeters. Before the changes, you could pen only 29 millimeters. With the changes, 30 millimeter. Armor thickness that shells can penetrate without the inertia fuse for HE shell skill. So 180 is getting buffed, you can pen 1 millimeter extra. 152 to 155 in tiers 8 to 10, they could penetrate to 24. Right now they're going to be able to penetrate 30 and 31. Oh, 152 and 100, okay. 152 and 150 from tiers 1 to 7, they could penetrate 24. Now they're going to be able to penetrate 25. 150 millimeter German, they could penetrate 37. Now they can penetrate 38. 128, 31, 32. 113, which is, I believe, daring guns. They could penetrate 18. Now they're going to be able to penetrate 19. 100 millimeter on Japanese. From tier 8 to 10, they could penetrate 24. Now they're going to be able to penetrate 25. So what Wargaming is doing is they're basically giving a miniature IFHE to all small caliber guns across the board. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're basically making sure that every ship between 100 and I guess 180 millimeters, or most of them, are going to be able to cross the threshold, which they couldn't cross before, without IFHE. So they're basically giving all these ships free IFHE. On top of which, you can still take IFHE, but then you're going to get basically... you're gonna get your fire chance cut in half. I don't know. Let's take a look. This is the problem, in my opinion. For example, daring without like the amount of thresholds that you're crossing here is insane. For example, if you are able to penetrate 19 millimeters of armor right now with daring, which you couldn't before, I think you're pretty much not gonna need IFHE, because you're going to be able to penetrate other destroyers. I think Gearing does have a bit of extra armor, so that might be the problem. But majority of the other cruisers are going to have like 19 millimeter pen, and that's going to be fine. Like, you're not going to need IFHE, so you can take RPF or RL, whatever it's called right now. So it's a buff. Like, I love daring, and this is great, but was it needed? No. Alright, let's continue. Changes in the armor plating of cruisers and battleships. Changes in plating will increase the survivability of cruisers if positioned properly. Okay, once again, they're talking about positioning. I'm not sure, do they mean actual position or angle? They will become more resistant to battleships' fire at range. Because AP shells hitting at an acute angle will ricochet off the plating. Tier 10 cruisers already benefit from this. Okay. Meanwhile, cruisers with guns of 190 millimeter caliber and higher will have their hull and deck armor increased. And cruisers with smaller caliber guns will only have the central part of the deck armor increased, which is done to emphasize the difference between light and heavy cruisers. Okay, so everything that has bigger guns than 190 will have their hull and deck armor increased. So that's the big thing we were talking about. And the smaller cruisers will only have their central part. Okay. Detailed values of the thickness of cruisers' armor platings are available in the table at the end of the text. Okay. Due to the change of the rule for calculating armor penetration of all HE and SEP shells, the plating of tier 6 to 7 battleships is changed to 26. So that interclass interaction remains unchanged. So what were they by now? They were like 25, and now they're buffing it to 26, which means all the cruisers they got without IFHE, they're now finally able to cross the threshold from 24 to 25, but now battleships are moving to 26. So you will still need IFHE if you want to basically penetrate battleships. So this is the way that they decided to balance, I guess, because they're buffing the pen. So yeah, okay. This is a nerf to cruisers and nothing changes for battleships, or so they say. Okay. They will show. Please note the tables show the minimum plating thickness for each tier. Armor thickness before changes. Cruisers, except British light cruisers. Central part 13, up to 100. Central part 16, after changes. Cruisers with higher than 190. Central part 16. Central part is going to be 25. Cruisers with 16, up to 25. 25. Cruisers with higher caliber 25 to 27. 25 to 27, 25 to 27. Cruisers called Baron Smolensk. They put them separately, okay? Central part 30 millimeter. Central part 16 millimeter. Salem and Des Moines, central part 27, central part 30. Oh shit. So Colbert and Smolensk are gonna have the central part like a destroyer. It's gonna be paper thin. And Salem and Des Moines are actually getting buffed to 30, which means all the 406. Whoa! This is a huge buff to Des Moines and Salem, dude. Right now, like, you know how much I love Des Moines. I really love that ship. But the problem is, unless you come across Tirpitz, Bismarck, Roma, Jean Bart, Bourgogne, Alsace, like those 380 millimeter guns. Cannot see the bottom. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here. Now you'll know what I'm talking about. Like 380 millimeter guns, which are basically tier 8, maybe 9 guns. You can bow tank, and my today's YouTube video perfectly shows this. This is amazing. If you didn't check it, go check it out. What's it called? I don't know what's it called. It's with Des Moines on trap. 380 millimeter guns, you can tank for days, even though they're battleships and you're a cruiser. But most ships in the game have 406 plus, which means they can penetrate you from the bow, which means in 1 or 2 volleys they can basically murder you. And that was always one of the major problems with Des Moines. If they do this, and the central part is now up to 30, and can only get penetrated by 129 plus, that means all US battleships are getting screwed. Some of the German battleships are getting screwed. Know your ship in action. Yeah, that's what it's called. The change is only for the central part, not for the bow. Yeah, okay, but they shouldn't overmatch you, right? Yeah, okay, Ohio is different. 457s. Because right now you can get citadeled through the nose. They can pretty much absolutely murder you. And this way they're only going to be able to penetrate your nose. But once that gets saturated and loses its HP, it's gonna stop doing, you're gonna stop getting a lot of damage from the nose. What's the caliber of Republic? It's 431, isn't it? I think so. Republic will be able to murder you. Ohio, Thunder, Conqueror won't be able to do anything with AP. Well, not anything. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They can still do damage to your bow. Yeah, like I love Des Moines, but that ship had a clear. You can still citadel from the front, just not from the sides if you're angled. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this is gonna go, but I'm like, I would be, I don't know, a weird thing to say that a ship that I like gets buffed and I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. But Des Moines has a weakness. It has a weakness. You have to be careful. And now that weakness is gonna get basically nurtured, so we'll see. And as for Colbert and Smolensk, I mean, the 30mm armor, we were ricocheting it occasionally, but we were overpenning. Like, that's the problem with Smolensk, for example. You simply overpen it. And that was 30. And now it's going to be 16. How are you going to pen it now? We're just going to have to sting it to death. Sure, there's going to be less shatters and ricochets, but those are minority. Majority of the shells are actually overpens. That needs to be addressed. So, like, yeah, this can all change and stuff. I absolutely acknowledge that. But once again, I feel like they are missing the point. At least with some of these things. Like, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, you can watch and you can think about a lot of these things on paper, but until you see it in action, you're not going to be sure. You're definitely not going to be sure. Please note the information of the development blog is preliminary and subject to change. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how this new IFHE and armor buffing, nerfing, depending on which ship you are, how's this exactly going to play out. But I don't know. I feel like I'm glad that they are approaching this subject, this topic, because it is problematic, but I feel like they are, like, I don't know how to explain this to you, but it feels like a dancer is dancing everywhere besides on the stage. We want you on the stage. We want you to address the elephant in the room. We don't want you to dance around and fix 7 other problems, which are minor. We would like the big major problem addressed. I just hope that they take this on another level as soon as possible and continue whatever they did here. On top of that, they start dealing with overpens and lower caliber guns and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move to Soviet cruisers. Man, each and every one of these dev blog posts has such juicy parts. It's insane. Like, I know I've heard some of the things about all of these, but I didn't really go through them that much myself. So this is going to be... Oh. I have my flag ready. I need to counter the Soviet thingies. Okay. We've already announced the new Soviet Cruiser sub-branch and its features, and today we would like to share the stats of the new ships. Before we continue, I would just like to express my condolences once again for like 17th time to all the Italians and their poor navy that didn't really have much glory and fame in World War II because of the very poor management, and wargaming is just continuing the tradition of not giving them attention. F in the chat, F for respect, I don't know. Changes to researchable Soviet cruisers. Updated stock hull geometry and visuals for the cruisers Budyonny, Shores, and Dmitry Donskoy, as well as their A and secondary guns composition. Okay. Dmitry Donskoy's researchable hull B will no longer be available. Does that mean the stock hull is going to be the B hull, or does that mean the stock hull that is going to remain, and this is a nerf to Donskoy? I mean, it does says updated stock hull geometry and visuals, but so this is a nerf, I guess. Most concealment values are wrong and will be changed soon. Okay, cool. Okay, so features of the Soviet heavy cruisers.
I serve the Soviet Union. I serve the Soviet Union. I serve the Soviet Union. And since I serve the Soviet Union and I now have hands, does hands serve the Soviet Union?
Dictator. Bro. You're truly special. Welcome to Hans, dude. Thank you for 2 years. Effective armor-piercing shells. They have high armor penetration for cruisers, good ballistics, and a short fuse arming time, which lowers the number of over-penetrations. These shells also have improved ricochet angles. It is possible starting from 55 degree and guaranteed from 65 degree. It's pretty much. Okay. These strengths are offset with an average reload time and special accuracy settings at long ranges. The dispersion ellipse of the new sub-brand ships is bigger than of the other cruisers. A combination of their accuracy settings and a surveillance radar consumable with a 12-kilometer range makes the new cruisers most effective at medium ranges. Russian cruisers that are most effective at medium range. Okay. Soviet cruiser Tallinn, tier 8. I think this is the new tier 8. Hit points 45k. Plating 25 millimeter. It will have 4 triple guns of 180 mils. Firing range 17.7. Dispersion 190. Sigma 2.0. Chance of fire 11. HE initial shell velocity 920. Reload time 13.5. Torpedo tubes 2x5. Huge damage, short range. Fast speed. Shit reload, but you know, it's a big cruiser, so whatever. A defense, 8 quad 45 mils. Jesus, 8 quad 45 mils, 6 double barreled 100 mils. Where the fuck are these things? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, look at the size of these fucking things, bro. This is some nasty AA. That looks dangerous. All right. Continuous damage, probably 90 from 3.5. Wait. Oh, it doesn't have short range. It's only mid and long range, okay? Continuous damage per second, 100%. Probably not damage. Zone 5.8. Number of explosions. And 6 damage with an explosion. Okay. Maximum speed, 33.1. Turning circle, 900. Rudder shift, 10.9. Surface detectability, 12.2. So you guys said that most of these surface detectabilities are going to be changed. I mean, bear one thing in mind. When they present you these ships, they do not have captains on it, but they do have all the best modules and upgrades. I think. Do they have the modules? Hold on, let me just scroll all the way to the bottom. All stats are listed without crew and upgrade modifiers, but with the best available modules. Oh, shit balls. Okay. Scared the crap out of me, Plutar.
Can't wait for the Russian player base to complain these are not strong enough. How am I supposed to become Shukablate with these underpowered ships? Fucking diet love Kim Jong-un for Prekappa.
Oh, Shukablate. That's a new way. That's a new way. Shukablate. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so what they're saying is if this is a researchable cruiser, and it is, it will be fully researched, but they will not put any upgrades on it and they will not put Captain on it, which means everything you see here can still be buffed. So, surface detectability of 12.2, you can buff that by 10% twice, which means 2.4 kilometers, 2.4, 2.5 on top of this, which puts it like 9 point something. But you guys said that the concealment will be changed. I guess Wargaming has went out with that and saying that these are wrong. Yeah, plus the camo. Great. So, I mean, it's hard to comment on them properly without knowing the exact concealment. But the concealment that they listed here is I mean, it's absurd. Look at the size of this thing. Look where the pole is ending. Look at this shit. If they didn't put this on, it would still be extremely high. But with this up high, for the love of God, this thing should be seen from space. One of the first things I'm gonna do when I get these cruisers is I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna park them to another tier 8 or 10 ship, and I'm gonna take a look at how high what these two things are and which one should actually have the worst detection. Where were we? Air detectability 7.5, 7.5, and that can also be buffed by like 20%. Are you kidding me? That's insanely low. Detectability after firing main guns in smoke, 6.4! Dude! Which guns are these? Which guns are these? Fuck, where is it? 180 millimeter guns? Dude! 180 millimeter guns that have 6.4 without the captain and the upgrades, which means this will, I think this can go even more down. I'm not sure if this value is getting influenced by with concealment. Like 150 something millimeter guns have about 5.5 to 6, and this thing is gonna have the same with 12. I hope not. I really hope you guys are correct. And this detectability gets changed because it's absurd. Available consumables, damage control party. Okay, that's hydro or defensive AA and surveillance radar. Of course. Of course. How much range? How much range do we get on this surveillance radar? I mean, it's Russian, so I'm guessing 12 kilometer. The only radar they have is 12 kilometer. Because we absolutely needed more radar in the game. Soviet cruiser Riga tier 9. This is actually a beautiful looking ship. It reminds me of Kronstadt, but I don't think these are 305s. Has a pretty freaking flat broadside. This one is actually looking good, but it just looks like a copy paste. 50.5 thousand hit points, 25 millimeter plating, 3 triple 220 millimeter guns. Which ship in the game right now has 220s? Is that like Moscow? Firing range 18 kilo. Hold on a second. 180 millimeter guns, firing range 17.7. 220 millimeter, 300 more. Okay. 168, 205. Chance of fire 14. Fast shells as usual. Reload time 14 seconds. And this thing was reloading 13 and a half. It will have a pretty slow turning turrets. This is like Battleship. Seriously, 32.7. That's... Jesus. Okay. A defense 6 double 130. 6 double 130s? That's 1230 millimeter guns. Dude, that's 3/4 of a Smolensk on top of this thing. 6 quad 37 mils. 12 double... Jesus! 6 quad 37. That's already 24 37mm guns, and then another 24. Fucking hell, this thing should be... Okay. That is a lot of AA. That's a lot of relatively high caliber AA. Maximum speed 33.5, turning circle radius 9. Surface detectability 14 kilometers.
But Terry's no Russian bias in WoWs.
In WoWs. Thank you for 7, Mr. Guy. Appreciate it. So, hold on a second. Hold on a second. If I'm not mistaken, how Wargaming looks and balances ships on how they're going to be what kind of detectability they're going to give it to them is how tall the highest part of the ship is. Look how high this thing is on Tallinn, and look how not high this thing is on Riga. Look at that. Are you seeing the difference? I see a big fucking difference. And this thing, even though it's a bigger, more massive cruiser, true, absolutely, it's a lot lower. And this thing gets... Where's the detectability? Where is it? 14 kilometers, while this thing gets 12.2. I mean, absolutely higher tier and a massive ship like this should absolutely have a worse concealment, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, this thing is so much freaking higher than this thing. Look at it. Yeah, it's more massive. Yes, you can see that. It's probably at least like third longer and more massive, but it's not higher than this. Look at, like, maybe Riga would be like towards here somewhere, because the camera is probably more zoomed out to compare the size. But you can't tell me it's taller than this. Or maybe they don't count this pole up there, which I honestly don't know what the hell that's supposed to be anyway. Maybe they don't count that, so if you remove that, they're kind of similar size, but considering Riga is bigger, the camera is probably a bit more far away. I'm sure the answer is those parts aren't actually part of the ship for detection purposes. Yeah. Okay. Damage control party, hydroacoustic or defensive, and radar. No, here. Damage control party, hydroacoustic or defensive AA, surveillance radar or fighter or spotting aircraft, and repair party. Okay, it's a tier 9, of course. Petropavlovsk. Yeah, this is one of the ugly ones. This is the new tier 10. This is going to be, by the way, the sub-branch. You're going to be having the new line a bit changed. Kirov is going out. We're getting a new ship. Kirov is going to become a premium. If you have Kirov, you get to keep Kirov. It's just going to become a premium. And Moskva is going out. We're getting a new tier 10. If you have Moskva, you will get to keep Moskva, and she will become a premium. I don't know if Wargaming actually stated, are we going to get the new ones as well, or are we going to have to regrind them? But knowing Wargaming, we're just going to get them. I'm not sure. This one is ugly as fuck. Like, this is an ugly ship. Like, the way this hull is designed is ugly. The tuning tower is fine. Just looks modern. It's absolutely fine. But the hull of this ship is just ugh. And the gun turrets are ugly as fuck. Petropavlovsk, tier 10, 55.8. Plating 25mm. 3 triple 220s. Firing range 18.4. Dispersion 172. Sigma 205. Blah, 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 blah. Reload time 13 seconds. Okay. They will turn very, very slow. A defense, 6 double 130s, 6 quad 57s. So this thing gets 6 quad 37s. This thing gets 6 quad 57s. Is that it? Oh, that's it. Really? My God, look at the size of those fucking things. Ooh, okay. So it doesn't get... interesting. That's like really, really massive AA. There's no machine guns at all. It's just guns. So these are guns. Dude, United States Army forces were using 57mm anti-tank guns. So you're gonna have an anti-tank gun shooting at your planes. Plus 130mm. There's no machine guns on this ship. Okay? Maximum speed 32.5, 990, 12 surface ability 14.4. 14.4. I do find it hilarious how tier 10 has this and tier 8 has this, but tier 9 does not. It will all penetrate the planes. 14.4. Deduct 2. No, sorry, deduct. Wow, you can drop this to like 11. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Surface detectability 14.4. 10% of that is 1.44. 20% of that is almost 3 kilometers. And if you add a couple of more 100 meters with the camo, you're dropping to like, you're dropping this detectability by about 3.1, 3.2, which means detectability of this thing is gonna be 11.5, less than 11.5. And knowing Russians, this is gonna be radar, is it? Yeah, surveillance radar, 12 kilometer. Come on, come on. Hold on, like, please, just. All stats are listed without crew upgrades, blah, blah, blah. Stats are subject to change during testing. Yeah, you, like, this better get fucking changed. Stealth radar, really? Really? Like, we just went through that. We just went through that change, bro. But once again, you guys did say, I have to keep reminding myself that concealment is listed wrong, apparently. Although I can't help but think that they...
The whole line will have stealth radar. It seems like there was something like that before. But I can't remember what it was. Shukablate, 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 Shukablate.
Shukablate. Someone needs to make an audio clip out of this guy saying Shukablate. Shukablate. It's amazing. Damage control, hydro, defensive AA, surveillance radar, repair party. Like, I would love to know the exact stats of repair party, of surveillance radar, and of hydro. Are they going to have limited damacons or unlimited damacons? Is it going to be 5 kilometer hydro? How long is it going to last? What's the cooldown? Surveillance radar, what's the range, and how long does it last, and stuff like that. Like, we absolutely need to know this. Soviet cruiser Kotovsky tier 5. Yeah, this is the one that's gonna replace Kirov. So I'm guessing, like, this is my speculation. I know half of what I'm about to say. I don't know the other half. The half that I do know is that Kirov and Moscow are going to become premiums, and if you have them, you get to keep them. You get basically a free premium. The half that I don't know is if you had those and they get out of the branch, will you for free get the new ones? They probably won't be researched, but like the modules. But you will probably, my speculation is you will probably get them for free as well. This is the new tier 5. Okay. Kotovsky will take Kirov's place in the Soviet light cruiser branch. This ship is at an early stage of testing, so her concept is still under development and characteristics will change. 13mm plating, Jesus Christ. 4 times 252 mils, firing range 15 for 16 kilometer fucking firing range. Okay. Okay. This thing is gonna have more range than some battleships, and it's a light cruiser. Dispersion at this range, blah blah blah. Chance of fire is pretty low. Decent fire. That's a pretty, yeah, for a light cruiser. 9-second reload time. 9-second reload time. That's pretty long though. But it's got 12. No, it's actually got only 8. Tier 5. Okay, we'll see. New York is just over 16. Torpedo tubes 2 times 3. No bullshit, come on. 8. Why? 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 What happened to 4-kilometer Russian torpedoes all of a sudden? Why does this fucking thing get 8 kilo? Dude, the strongest torpedoes in tier 5 were Gremyashki, Russian by the way, 8 kilometer, 2 times 3. That's exactly the same torpedoes as Gremyashi has.
Now then, let's see which works best. Shukablyatsu ukablyatsu ukablit shukablyat sukablyat shukablyatsu ukablit. These new ships are such bullshit, it's unbelievable. The old shit smell is coming back again.
I mean, the thing about Russian cruisers and destroyers is until you get to like mid-high to high tiers, they get 4-kilometer torpedoes. Now these torpedoes are pretty fast and they do a lot of damage. I can't remember the reload, depends on the ship, but they don't have range. Destroyers in tier 5 used to be like, Japanese had 7 and everything else had less than 7, but you had Gremyashi with 8. Fine. It's one ship. It's not being sold for years. There's not that many of them out there. You don't even see that many anymore. But of course it was Russian, but sure, fine. Now they're bringing a tier 5 cruiser that has 16-kilometer range and 8-kilometer torpedoes. Why? Like, why is it not following everybody else's footsteps and has only 4 for pure self-defense? Why does it have 8? It's a powerful weapon. Now, I don't know what kind of torpedo angles this thing is gonna have, but that's pretty strong weapon. Yeah, sure, it's only 3 torpedoes on each side, but it's not fair. It doesn't follow the pattern. 55 knots, reload time 60, 69-second reload. Dude, I can like fire. I'm charging someone, I fire. He's coming at me, I'm coming at him. He's on like 11 kilometers. I fire these torpedoes. I turn around, I fire the other set. I turn around and I can torp him again by the time we reach each other, if I'm still alive. Dude, these torpedoes make no sense. They make no fucking sense. These are one of the strongest torpedoes in tier 5. They may not look like much to you, but considering torpedoes are something that DDs should be having, mostly, and that's their main weapon, and DDs of this tier...
On my way to Choco.
They're the same. They're stronger than a lot of torpedoes in this tier. And they don't make sense. They're slow, they reload fast, and they have long range with medium damage. It should be low range, high speed, and a bit, I think, longer reload, to be honest. But with 4 kilometers, it doesn't even matter. This is bullshit, but okay. Machine guns, 37s, 100 mils. 35.5 knots. That's pretty fast. That's fucking destroyer fast. Surface detectability 11 kilometers. Okay, on tier 5 you can't mount the module or the upgrade, whatever it's called. You can't mount that, but you can do the captain. So this can go down by additional 1.1 and another few hundred meters from camo, which means you can drop this to like 10.5 9.9, 9.8, something like that. Okay. With 16-kilometer range, that's pretty good. Detectability after firing main guns in smoke, 5 kilometers, which can be even further dropped. That's like Flint! That's like Flint! Flint has 127 millimeter guns, and its smoke firing penalty is 4.6. This thing has 5 bays. Once again, I don't know if anyone in chat knows, but does this get also influenced with lowering surface detectability? And this thing has 152 millimeter guns. That doesn't make sense. You cannot drop it down. So between 127 millimeter guns and 152, which is, fuck math, 25 or something like that, millimeters of difference, there's only 400 meters penalty. I think this should be a bit higher. Like 6, but okay. Available consumables, damage control, hydro, and fighter. Okay. Once again, I would love to know the range and duration of hydro. Soviet cruiser Alexander Nevsky, tier 10. The cruiser armed with torpedoes and quick-firing 180mm. Ah, this is the new tier 10. The evolution of the Dmitry Donskoy in the Soviet light cruiser branch. Yeah, the Moscow is going out, and this is coming in. What is this nest up here? Ah, I see a lot of 57 mils. Okay, so they're basically making the branch that we have right now light. And look at the size of this fucking thing, bro. It's cutting the clouds. Oh, I want to see the detection of this thing. The original initial detectability of this thing. Although I'm pretty sure it's gonna be, like you said, changed. So I don't know if I even want to know. Let me close all of these. Okay. So I think it's Alexander Nevsky. Did I read that somewhere? Please tell me. Yes, I did. Okay. Hit points 51,000. Light cruiser, you say? Hold on a second. Okay. Light cruiser. Des Moines. Come on! Come on! Dude, come on! 50,600 on an American tier 10 heavy cruiser. And then we jump into the light cruiser. It's got more HP! It's got 300 more HP than American heavy cruiser. You know, a part of me wanted to say, what the fuck are heavy cruisers gonna have when they come out? But they're already been out. You have Moscow, you have Stalingrad, and they're basically battleships with 70-something K, of course. 25mm plating, main battery 4x280, firing range of... Okay, alright, okay, let's take a look at the, let's take a look at the range of 203 Des Moines heavy cruiser caliber guns. Dude, it's got 3.2 kilometers longer range on those 180 Russian guns as a light cruiser than American heavy cruiser does. And more HP! The reload better be shit. Like, the reload better be fucking dog shit. Dispersion at range 164, Sigma 2, blah blah blah, chance of fire 13, HE shell initial velocity 1,000 meters! 1,000 meters per second, dude. this shit? What else? What else? Let me guess. Smolensk. Not even Smolensk has 1,000 meters! Dude! Smolensk is insane! This thing is fucking insane! 950 millimeter shell velocity. It's super easy to hit anything. That thing is gonna... Oh no, no, no! 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 Just no! That makes no sense! Oh my god, if it's not like 20-second reload, it's gonna be... It's broken. It's just fucking broken. 6! No! 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 No way! No fucking way! No! No, 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 no. I refuse! I refuse to believe this. This is not... No, 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 no. Is this an... This no, no, no. No, it can't be. It can't be. It just can't be. No. 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 I fucking refuse to believe this. This is a joke. This is a fucking joke. This is a joke. This is a joke. Autoloaders 5.5. Des Moines. That thing has 6. But bear in mind, Des Moines, my Des Moines, doesn't have this because a legendary module, obviously. That thing is gonna be able to slot this. So main battery reload time is gonna go from 6 to 5. So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. So, light cruiser, Russian light cruiser is gonna have more HP than a heavy cruiser. It's gonna have a lot more range than a lot of other ships in the game. I mean, how many cruisers have 19-kilometer base range in this game? Like, I had to slot the range module on my Hindenburg so that it can go above 20, because if I get any closer, I get shredded. This thing is gonna have 19 base. With Dispersion and Sigma, which seem very good. 13% fire chance with flags, that's 14. With Demo Expert, that's 16. I don't know if you need IFHE or not, honestly, I don't give a shit. 1,000 meters per second, 6-second reload time. And it's gonna have 8 guns, Des Moines has 9. It's gonna have 180s, Des Moines has 203. Let me see that, let me see the AA. Of course, it's got torpedo tubes, why not? 8-kilometer range, 60 knot speed, 2-minute reload. Yeah, of course it's got 8 torpedoes when Des Moines doesn't get any torpedoes, for example. Why would Des Moines need torpedoes? Can you imagine torpedoes on Des Moines? 8 defense, 6 double 100 mils, 6 quad 57 mils, 8... These are dual purpose! Oh no! I can't do this. He's gonna be shooting at planes with his primary guns. It's gonna have 1,200 millimeter shells, 24 57 millimeter, and 880 millimeters. This is gonna be an absolute monster. 4-kilometer range. Yeah, of course. Fuck 3.5. Suddenly it's 4. Continuous damage per second. This is insane. 3.5. I'm shocked it's not 6 or 6 point something. This is like maximum speed 36 knots. Dude, I think there's DDs that go slower than that. I'm shitting you not. I think there's actually DDs that go around 36 knots. Even in a tier 10. 37 and a half. Wait it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. 35.7. Bullshit! Okay. Okay. Let's pull our shit together and let's continue. Where is it? Okay. So this thing is gonna be faster than Harugumo. Okay. Cool. Roger shift. Surface detectability 13.3. I don't even want to think about this. If this is gonna get changed, then I don't want to know. 13.3. You drop that by 20 something percent. You drop it to like 10. Is it gonna have a radar as well? It's gonna have a radar. That's great. That's fantastic. That's just special. Is he gonna have a heal? Damage control. Hydro, defensive ace, repair. Yeah. Yeah, this is what we needed in the game. This is what we needed in the game. 51,000 HP with heal. 8 guns that have 19 kilometer range and fire every 6 seconds with good fire chance. And the fastest shells in the fucking game. I don't know if there's any shells that are faster in the game than this. I want to know. I need to know. Are there... Dude, come on. This is bullshit. This is ridiculous. Where is it? Russian. I'm not even going to look at other nations because no one else has faster shells. 950. Fucking Stalingrad's got 950, dude. Moscow? 985. Only the 100 mils on the Japanese. Yeah, but though that range is like 11, 12. And good luck hitting anything on max range. And if you go for 19 kilometers, they fly like 25 seconds to reach the target. I wanted to go through this very calm. Like, I shit you not, I wanted to go through this very, very calm. But this is ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous. And this is not going to be any sort of a premium. This is going to be in the game. Like, this is the new tier 10 that's going to... Everyone is going to have these. Oh my fucking god. Can you imagine? Okay, just stop and think about it for a second. Just for 1 second. Just stop. This and Smolensk in a division. Dude. Where's the 7.3?
Hey bro. Is there a chance for them to loose the community over this kind of shit? I mean, this is beyond overpowered.
Thank you for 3. Welcome to Silver Shell. I don't know anymore, dude. I don't know. This is ridiculous. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, let's stop for a second and let's be objective. Let's forget that this is a Russian ship.
Balance comes for us all, Tavarish. Do not question the superior Soviet Navy. It is of greatest glories.
Z, thank you for 25. Let's stop for a second and let's forget that this is a Russian Navy. Let's think that this is Romanian Navy. Yes, I know. Let's pretend. Let's just pretend. And Wargaming presents you with this great Romanian navy that has a light cruiser that has more HP than a heavy cruiser. It's got more range than a heavy cruiser. It reloads as fast as the fastest auto-loading heavy cruiser in the game. It's got insane AA. It's got ability to stealth radar. It's got radar, which is longer range than a heavy cruiser. It is faster than destroyers. And it's got the fastest shells in the game. What the fuck were they thinking? What the fuck were they thinking? I don't care that it's got a Russian flag. This doesn't make sense. Who put this on paper? Who put this on paper and thought this is a good idea? It doesn't make sense. I don't care that these are Russians. I'm looking at this from the game point of view. It doesn't make sense. Dude. This is initial. Yes, this is initial. This could all be turned upside down. And for the love of God, I truly hope that they take this shit, they put it in a meat grinder, and then they spit it out. And it's probably gonna be better than this, because this is beyond overpowered. This is absolutely disgusting. It's so overpowered. It's got everything. It's got everything. Give me one weakness. Show me one weakness of this thing. What? 25mm plating? We have plenty of 25mm plating cruisers already in the game. Dude, I was so fucking calm when I was going to this. This is insane. I didn't want to lose my shit. And I knew it was gonna be bad. But this is ridiculous. Like, I got to the point that I don't care about Russian bias. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care that these cruisers are gonna be Soviet. What are these stats? Dudes, what are these stats? This needs to be changed and turned and it's got torpedoes! Fuck, I forgot, it's got torpedoes. Yes, of course it does. This needs to be so turned and twisted that it's insane.
Soyuz Nerashimi Republic Sviobodnik Sploilanevki Velikaya Rus. Does travestivia sozdani narod yedim yi moguchi sovetskse Soyuz. Slavsio tekst vonash Sviobodnoid rushbi narod nadoshny oplot. Soviet anthem kappa.
Yeah, trying to make an English dude read it. That's funny. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Like, these ships could fly, sail, drive, float under any flag in the game. I don't care. And it would be an absolute bullshit. It's just bullshit. How can you, like, just take a piece of paper and put all these things. Put all these things on a small sheet of paper and think about it. It's got everything. The only thing it misses is a smoke. Let's stop and think about it for a second. We had a major problem. Old Bull, thank you for full year. Welcome to Choco. We had a major problem when Worcester was coming into the game. Because it had everything. But Worcester has a problem. Worcester can't really shoot too far. And if you make it shoot too far, you're not gonna hit anything. Let's take a look at Worcester's stats, okay? Just quick, just nice, short, and quick. You take Worcester, which is a huge problem, by the way, in this game. Worcester is a pestilence. This thing is toxic. This is the pre-Smolensk. This is where Wargaming was testing what Smolensk is gonna be like. Unofficial, of course. I don't know if they did that. That is my opinion. This is a Smolensk in disguise. People just don't know it yet. Because it doesn't have smoke. let's take a look at its range. 16.7. Initial HE shell velocity, 812. And it loses that drastically. This thing is Russian. Russian shells somehow mysteriously, magically, usually don't lose their shell velocity that good over distance because they're fucking rail guns. I don't know. Fastest guns in the game. It has torpedoes. It's faster than destroyers. It's got hydro radar. It's perfectly capable of stealth radar in the moment. It's got 8 guns that fire as fast as the fastest auto-loading heavy cruiser, and this is a light cruiser. What's the weakness? What is the weakness? Point at the weakness of that thing, please. Somebody. Anybody. What the fuck is the weakness of this thing? I don't get it. And it's bristling with super strong AA. I would love to know. I would love to know. I would really, really love to know. Like, I understand. Ozzy, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the shit show. Welcome to the team. I understand that wargaming has a way that they do things, and they basically...
All stats are subject to change. They won't be released like this.
I surely hope so, Red Devil, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you for 27. I know that they take out of somewhere, and they compile a ship, and they put some stats on it, and then they release it. And they're like, these are preliminary stats. They are subject to change. And these ships are probably now being tested internally. If everything is working and stuff. And then they might change a couple of things before they give it to us. To test it on the public server. Where they're going to rebalance and stuff. And yeah, it all makes sense. It's fine. But how can you even initially put these stats on a paper? Why does
Soviet Navy strongest in the world? Are you not aware of this? They carried the Allies through World War II, comrade. Now go to Gulag.
Thank you for 16, Peter. I would just like to know, why would you put stats like this to begin with? What do you need to test? What is there to test? It's got OP written all over it, from stem to stern. Like, it's broken. You don't even need to test it to know this thing is going to be absolutely broken. I don't get it. I expected really slow turret traverse of these guns, even though it's a light cruiser, and I expected a really long reload. I was like, this has to be like 12-second plus reload. They're going to have to make these guns like reload really long, but it's a light cruiser. Why would they do that? 6 seconds without the module. That's like 5.5. That's Des Moines, auto-loader. I don't know. I would love to know the weakness. It doesn't make sense. Like, first of all, torpedoes need to get nerfed from 8 to 4. Second of all, they need to increase the reload of these guns to at least like 7-8 seconds. Third of all, they need to lower the shell velocity drastically. Third, they should probably cut the range down a bit as well to like 16-17 at best. Shell velocity no more than 900. It's gotta be worse than Smolensk because that thing is fucking insane. They need to increase the detectability. For the love of God, look at that thing. It's Empire State Building. Holy shit. It's gonna be visible from space. They need to increase detection on this. And then we can talk. And then we can be like, okay, another Russian cruiser that's probably gonna be strong. Let's take a look at it. Let's take it. And, you know, let's test it. Let's see how...
This is blasphemy. Stalin is disappointed, comrade. Go to Gulag.
Thank you for 4 months, dude. Like, after all of those nerves, and pretty much nothing but straight up nerves, I can take a look at this and be like, okay, Let's take a look at this and let's see if it's gonna be how good is it gonna be? Because every single thing on this ship is OP. Every single thing. There's just two things that you can make stronger. You can increase the caliber gun by keeping everything else to like 203, because why wouldn't it have the same guns as Des Moines and same reload as Des Moines, or maybe even higher than Des Moines, who knows? And they give it smoke. That's it. But you put this in a combination with Smolensk, you got everything. You got fucking everything. You don't need anything. I gotta stop looking at this thing. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Soviet cruiser Mikoyan tier 5. Another tier 5? Okay. I'm losing my mind still thinking about that thing. Equipped with 180mm guns. Oh. Mikoyan will follow the concept of the Soviet heavy cruisers and will have effective armor-piercing shells but relatively long reload time and special accuracy settings. The ship is at an early stage of testing, so her concept is still under development and characteristics will change. Hit points 21k. Oh, that is exceptionally low. That is exceptionally low amount of hit points. 21k. I may be wrong, but let me compare it to like Marblehead, which is really nothing special. 27. Hawkins. 32. Furutaka. 30. Omaha. 26.8. Yahagi. 25.7. Now this shit already has a weakness. Like first glance at this and I can already see a weakness. And I'm already calm because it's like, oh my god, this thing is gonna have paper armor and no hit points. Now I can go into this ship expecting some really big strengths because this needs to be compensated. This is gonna be exceptionally weak. It's got 6 guns, which is nothing special, but they're high caliber. Sure, they got big range. Sure, I'm willing to look at a tier 5 cruiser that's got more range than a battleship and be like, yeah, okay, sure, it's got only 6 guns and 2 hits and he's dead. Dispersion, blah 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 blah. Initial velocity 800, reload 13.5. So this thing can have 180mm guns that reload 13.5, but this thing can have 180mm guns that reload 6 seconds. That makes sense. Great. I feel sorry for this. Like this thing is gonna weep. This thing is gonna weep and cry. It's gonna absolutely fucking weep and cry. I already don't even want to play this thing. When I see 21,000 HP, unless you're giving me a tier 3, I'm like, I'll pass. 13.5 second reload. This thing is getting buffed, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Mark my words, this thing is getting buffed. No way. Torpedo. Oh, this is a sacrificial lamb, maybe.
You hungry?
No, I'm in my moment. Okay. There's no space for food right now. Okay, torpedo tubes 2 times 3 it gets 8km range torpedoes again. But see here I'm willing to be like, okay, all right. So it's got high caliber guns. It's got long range, but they reload slow. And it's got extremely shit armor and shit HP, but it gets different torpedoes than everybody else. See, here, it makes sense. Here, I'm looking at this ship and I'm thinking, yeah, it's got strengths and it's got weaknesses. It's got strengths that shouldn't be long, but it's got weaknesses that probably shouldn't be long. And, yeah, this thing kind of looks balanced. We'll see. But although I don't really understand that the torpedo need... Well, you definitely want to stay at range, so... okay. Fine. Maximum speed 35.5. It's pretty fast. 11 kilometers. Yeah, like... What does he have? Damage control, hydro... This makes sense! This displays balance. It's got obvious weaknesses, it's got obvious strengths, and it's got a bit disguised strengths and disguised weaknesses. And you can see it. This... I'm probably not going to enjoy this, because first of all, I don't like tier 5 cruisers at all. Hawkins is a bit of an exception. That one I kind of did like. We'll see what's going to happen to it. But, like, not my thing, but I absolutely approve. Like, initial concept, sure, give me, I'll try it, and I'll tell you, like, my god, this thing is going to be extremely hard to play, or yes, this can work, or shit, it might even be, you know, it might even be too strong. Who knows? I don't know. I'm willing to give it a try. This shit should be burned on a fucking stake. Okay, let's move on. Soviet cruiser Voroshilov. Another tier 5. How many fucking tier 5s are we getting? Does any of you remember the Sudden Strike game? Like in Sudden Strike, you had a tank, which was like a version of a KV-1. And it was called Voroshilov, which I think was a general of some sort, if I'm not mistaken. Russian, of course. Is a copy of Kirov's stock hull intended to test possible changes to the ship for when her status changes from researchable. What the fuck? Is a copy of Kirov's stock hull intended to test possible changes to the ship for when her status changes from researchable to premium. Okay, so this is just a test template. Hit points 26.2, armor 3.3. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this ship and it all, like, this poor thing already makes no sense. Seriously. But this thing at least gets proper torpedoes. This thing gets more HP, more guns, more range, better reload. Why does it have more guns in the same tier? Why does it have more guns of the same caliber that reload faster? How does that make sense? This thing reloads 13.5 with 6 guns. This thing reloads 12.5 with 9 guns, and they're both 180s. Look at this. And they're both tier 5, so you can't say you're newer technology. This is a tier 10. So, whatever. Soviet cruiser, or Chakov, I believe, tier 8. Oh, this looks like Smolensk hull. Just crappier guns, I presume. But those AA, that AA looks scary. Ochakov is a support cruiser with low detection. When they say low detection, I'm afraid to look. Low detection torpedoes with a 10-kilometer range and solid choice of consumables in separate slots. Oh my god, I'm afraid. However, she has not the best survivability and relatively low range, low damage per minute. Hit points 30,200. 30,200. 30,200. Let's take a look. 39, 38, 40, 42, 36, 43, 36, 37. Alright, fair enough. Only 30.2, plating 16mm, which is like a DD. 4 times 252mm guns, firing range 15.2, dispersion, sigma, 12% fire chance, extremely fast shell velocity, because why not? Velo time 6.5 seconds. 6.5 seconds. Choppy, what is your reload? 8. Okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. Choppy reloads 8 with, I think, the same caliber guns, is it? And this thing reloads 6.5. And Choppy's got 12 guns, this thing gets 6.5. Why? Where's the catch? Torpedo tubes, 2 times 5, 15.1. Okay, I see. There's the catch. There's the catch, dudes. 10-kilometer torpedo range. This is tier 10 torpedoes. Why are cruisers getting DD torpedoes? I don't get it. Like, only Grozovoy gets 10 kilometers in the entire tier, in the entire Russian branch of all ships. Only Grozovoy gets 10 kilometers, and those are the longest range torpedoes. Correct me if I'm wrong. 56 knots, which is decent. I mean, Benson gets 55. They reload long, 7.2. Okay. 6 quad 57s, 4 double 152s. Okay. That seems like insane AA for a tier 8. Maximum speed 35 knots, turning circle 750, radar shift time 8.2, surface detectability 11.5. Damage control, defensive ace, survey. Another radar. Oh god. Fucking damn it, dude. Another radar, another stealth radar. If consume, oh. Okay, alright, okay, cool. Let's just, I'm gonna need to change the shirt. This one's wet. This one's completely fucking wet. I'm sweaty. I'm getting too emotional and too excited about this. Because I care. I do fucking care. I don't even wanna, like, I don't even wanna. This and this, no. Soviet cruiser Petr Bagration. That's named of the famous Russian operation, which pretty much destroyed the Germany forever. Once Bagration or Bagration or whatever you want to call it started, that was the end. I think that was the major big ass fucking offensive that Russians did that they basically didn't stop until they reached well, end of the war. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a bit rusty. Let's take a look. Those guns look a bit bigger. Torpedoes. It's a good looking cruiser. It is a good looking cruiser. Let's see. Bagration combines features of light and heavy Soviet cruisers. From the former, she received standard accuracy settings and HE shells, and from the latter, effective AP shells. Why? Why are you giving it good things from both? Besides that, her torpedoes have 8-kilometer range. However, the cruiser has not the greatest damage per minute due to having 9 guns and 12.5-second reload. Which guns are these? 42,000 HP. Jesus Christ, that's gonna be the biggest HP okay, not the biggest. Eugen has like 43. I think, yeah. So very, like, that is exceptionally high hit points. 25mm plating, 980mm guns, 18-kilometer range. 13% fire chance, 920 torpedoes. Does it have radar? Sure, it's probably having radar. 4 quad 25 mils, 8 double 100 mils, 8 double 45 mils. Maximum speed 34.5, turning circle, rudder shift, surface detectability 12.6, air detection 7.4, available consumables, damage control party, hydroacoustic surge. Oh, this one actually has things listed. Damage control party, slot 2, hydroacoustic surge, duration 100 seconds, torpedo detection range 3, ship detection 4, reload time 180, defensive. Oh, it doesn't have radar. Oh, they left the best for last. It doesn't have radar. This is like, okay, comrade, everything you just read here. Something that's a bit over the top, but not too much over the top. Yeah, this looks like a good cruiser. I mean, it's got a lot of HP with normal plating. Uh, for a tier 8 cruiser to have 9 guns, that is a bit of a downside because most of them have like 12, some have 15, some have... Most of them are 12. Some of them are 8, sure. Some of them have 9, like Charles Martel, for example. So it's decent. It's not good, but it's not bad. Firing range is insane. For that, like, this is tier 10. Tier 10 with 18-kilometer range would not be shy. That's without range module. This thing has that in a tier 8. It can slot a scout, at least. With decent fire chance and extremely fast shell velocity. The reload is nothing great, but okay. And torps that you can actually use. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good cruiser. We'll see, though. Especially with the upcoming changes. God knows. Fucking hissing at you. Jesus Christ, so many Russian ships. Moving on. European event arc. Changes to Griff and other improvements. Update 092 will begin the European event arc with early access to European destroyers. Which, in case you're wondering, my opinion is... I don't know. Some of these are strong, but they might get nerfed. Some of these are and some of them are like, not my type. So I'm not overly excited about these. New European camouflage containers and European tokens are added to the game. Received tokens can be exchanged for consecutive bundles with early access to European destroyers. There are 5 consecutive bundles. You can get tier 5 destroyer from the first, tier 6 from the second, and so on until tier 9. So we moved from tier... What it used to be what? It used to be like 4, 5, and 6, then 7... then 8. Now we're moving to tier 9. Before you know it, you're going to be able to buy a tech tree tier 10. You just cash some money and you got tier 10. I mean, you could argue you can do it already. If you play the game. You just convert XP to free XP. There you go. But this way you can just get a tech tree ship without ever playing a fucking game. Just... gold, gold, gold. You can also exchange European tokens for various rewards in the armor, including doubloons and days of premium account. A new port fjord will be added to the game. Okay. European emblems will also be added. They will be received in the same way as the emblems of the other nations, winning, blah, blah, blah. Other improvements on the 4th of April. There will be clan brawl on tier 10 ships in a 4v4 format with 1 ship of each class in each team. Battles will be fought within a reduced combat area on existing maps. So 1 destroyer, 1 cruiser, 1 battleship, and 1 carrier. 4v4. Clan brawl? I don't know how small these maps are gonna be, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna put it on 1v1 maps. That would be ridiculous, but it would be fucking fun as hell. I'd love that. Can you imagine on that 1v1 super small map, 8 people? That would be a massacre. It's probably gonna be just new reduced maps. Okay, looking forward to that. Collection dedicated to King of the Sea tournament will be added into the game. The following maps have been reworked to accommodate the new lighting module. Blah blah blah. Ice Islands, trade tiers of the desert mountain ranges was a new point. Blah 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 blah. New European unique historical commander Jerzy Wlodzimierz Szwedzki. This is like a Polish guy? That sounds Polish to me. I don't know. I don't speak Polish, but that kind of looks like a Polish name. Fuck, how am I gonna call this guy? Jerzy? I'm gonna need a poll to tell me how to pronounce this. If it's a Polish. It is Polish? Okay. He has 2 unique talents. The first reduces torpedo tubes reload time by 5% after receiving 8 torpedo hit ribbons.
Greetings, comrade. Our place in Gulag is ready.
Gulag is ready. Yes, it is, Starcop. Thank you for 2 months. There are plenty of dissidents keeping it warm. Dude, it's only 5% torpedo reload. That's like a couple of second torpedo reload after you already scored 8 torpedo hit ribbons. These destroyers, the European destroyers, they don't get many torpedoes. They usually get like 6 to 8, and you need 8, and they are fast, true, but you're gonna need a significant amount of torpedo hits to receive 5%. Like, it's not even 10 or 20. It's just 5. This is useless. This talent can be activated repeatedly in a battle. Oh yeah, sure, because I'm gonna be hitting like 30 torpedoes each game. You hit 16 torpedoes and you kind of have 10. Yej? You read this Yej? I doubt it. I don't know. I don't think you're gonna get much use out of this. I mean, sure, a buff is a buff, but it really doesn't seem like much. The second increases continuous AA damage by 10% after receiving 20 aircraft shutdown ribbons. This talent can be activated once per battle. I mean, fucking hell, after I shut down 20 aircraft, the game's almost over anyway. And then I get a BFT, pretty much. It is Yej? Really? Yeji? What? Because Yej means shit. Hold on. Yeah. This is what Yej means in my language. So that's a bit funny. Okay. Cool. Okay, I mean, yeah, sure. It's buffing your AA and it's buffing your torpedoes, which are two main things. In Polish too? Okay. It's buffing the two things that are the most useful, but it very little, and it takes quite a bit of effort to actually get these things working. Okay. So Yeji has an improved adrenaline rush skill, which increases the reload time of all ships' armament and aircraft speed by 25%. You mean decreases the reload. Increases the reload time. Decreases the reload time, wargaming, of all ships' armament and aircraft speed by 25% instead of 20%. Or 0.25 instead of 0.2. For each 1% of total... I don't even know if I'm using AR. I think I'm using a bunch of tier 3 skills, but sure, AR could be included. European Cruiser Griff tier 1. Guns change from 4 single-barreled 120s to 2 single-barreled and 2 double-barreled 120s. Wait, so it's gonna have 6 instead of 4 guns. It used to have 4 single-barreled, and now it's gonna have 2 single-barreled and 2 double-barreled. Oh shit, 6 guns, okay. That's a lot of guns. Other parameters do not change. Okay. Let's take a look. What else? Upgrade changes. Torpedo lookout system in slot 5. Remove the bonus that gives plus 5% to ship's torpedo protection. Damage control system mod 1 in slot 2. Remove the bonus that gave plus 2% to ship's torpedo protection. We decided to remove bonuses to ship torpedo protection as it could lead to excessive efficiency of these upgrades. That's good news. That's good news, but that's going to make the existing upgrades, the upcoming existing upgrades, that much worse. So, okay. And last, British Heavy Cruisers Part 2, 091. Okay, so... yeah, they're just introducing the British heavy cruisers, which we have been testing for a while now. And new captain is coming, which is nice. Lightning fast. The speed of your ships and squadron increases by 5% after scoring the first 2 cause floodings. Consumable expert. Number of consumable charges of your ship increases by 1 after destroying 2 enemy ships, which means more heals on the Conqueror. Fucking fantastic. Or more smokes on Mino. This is gonna be so overpowered. Oh my god. This is gonna be so overpowered. Number of consumable charges for your ship increases by 1 after destroying 2 enemy ships. Even if you can do this only once, this is gonna be so OP. So fucking OP. Extra heal, extra smoke. Dude. Oh my god. Sink, burn, destroy. The reload time of your ship's main battery guns and torpedo launchers, as well as aircraft restoration time reduced by 10%, blah blah blah. Check of all trades. 15 season of ranked battles. Tier 10, 7v7, arms race. This is the only shining moment that it's actually going to be arms race. Because I'm sick and tired of tier 10 competitive thingies. Updates to upgrades. Yeah. 5th slot torpedo lookout system. Increases the range of assured acquisition of torpedoes to a fixed value of 1.8. This range can be further increased by learning the vigilance skill. Replaces the target acquisition system mod 1. So, we will no longer be seeing 3 kilometers acquisition. Hey, Jingles. We will not... You're getting banned from the Venezia thingy. I have another video coming out soon with triple Venezia as well. Like, you will no longer be able to get proxy detected at 3 kilometers, which is pretty awesome. But in the same time, RIP DDs, whoever take this, like, torpedoes are gonna get spotted from outer space. Especially deep water torpedoes, which have the strength of being, you know, stealthy, no more. 6th slot, auxiliary armaments mod 2, plus 15% to continuous damage of AA guns, and plus 15% to damage within the explosion radius of shells fired by AA defenses, and minus 20% to the secondary battery reload time. 2 additional explosions in AA salvos when defensive AA fire consumable is active. Combines the AA guns mod 2 and secondary battery mod 2 upgrades that are scheduled to be removed from the game. Yeah, so you're gonna lose 2 mods which combined give you this. So, but the problem is this is going in 6th slot, and 6th slot is usually very much reserved for, I think, like reload of torps or guns or something. And even if you want to buff your AA, secondaries are going to be useless. And even if you want to go full secondary build, it's still probably better to increase the decrease the reload of your main battery or something than secondary battery or accuracy, for example, whatever. 2nd slot, engine room protection. Minus 20% to chances of critical damage to the engine and steering gears. Minus 20%, blah blah blah. This upgrade combines the bonuses provided by propulsion modification 1 and steering gears modification 1 upgrade are scheduled to be removed. I never use these. I always use the first thing. This is like the 2nd and the 3rd. I always use the first, which gives you the lower chance of catching fire and flood. I don't know. We'll see. Changes to upgrades. Remove the penalty to the main battery gun reload time for this one. So you will be able to increase your turret rotation without losing the main battery reload time. That's good, but I mostly never use that anyway. Added a bonus reducing the reload time of the defensive AA fire consumable by 10%. Modification icon has been updated. The bonus providing additional explosions has been replaced. Number of explosions produced by salvos from long range AA defense, which used to be +2, I believe, is getting removed. And instead of more flak, you're gonna get 20% reduction in preparation time of the priority A sector, which means you're gonna be able to trigger priority sector 20% faster. Enhanced measures. The bonus applied to the action time of surveillance radar consumable has been increased. Plus 10% to duration of surveillance radar plus... Oh, great! That's fantastic. We needed longer radars. 3rd slot, aerial torpedoes mod 1. Plus 5% to the speed of torpedoes dropped from the air. Oh, so now we're getting module or upgrade, whatever you call it, upgrade that can give you the same thing as the captain skill. So you will be, Okay, well, captain skill gives you 5 knots, but you lose 20% range, this thing will just give you plus 5% to speed of torpedoes dropped from the air, which torpedoes dropped from the air are usually like 35, 40 knots. They're not exceptionally fast. I mean, they can go over 40 as well, but they're not really fast. So 5%, that gives you like 2 knots. 2.5, 3 knots. It's there's probably going to be better stuff to pick than this. Ship consumable mod 1, plus 10% to the action time of ship's consumables. But you have to give up concealment for this. Now, this is not bad, but it doesn't belong. If you want to use this, it doesn't really belong in the consumable, in the concealment slot. I would still rather go for concealment. Especially ships that have high number of consumables are usually the ones that you need to play very stealthy. So you would give up stealth to have longer smoke, longer heal, longer radar, longer FAA, or longer hydro, or whatever. I don't think it's gonna be valuable. It's in the wrong slot, basically.
Happy anniversary Flambabambino 30.
Thank you for 13 months, Camo. Draco, appreciate it. Torpedo tubes mod 1, plus 20% to the traverse speed of torpedo tubes. Okay, minus 40% to the chances of critical damage to torpedo tubes. Okay, and plus 5% to the speed of ship-borne torpedoes. Torpedo tubes mod 1. Third slot. Okay, third slot. Let's take a look. No, not cruisers, DDs. For example, Z52, we go to modules. So here. Okay, so instead of better accuracy on your guns, I could go for faster turret traverse, much lower chance of losing torpedo tubes, and plus 5% to speed of ship-borne torpedoes. Once again, like let's say these are 65 knot torpedoes, 10% would be 6.5 knots, 5% would be about 3.5 to 4 knots. Okay, sure. This I could take. Especially if I'm not a gunboat destroyer. This I could take. Couple of knots, why not? And lower chance of losing those torpedo tubes, if I'm reading this correct. So, yeah, why not? Squadron consumable mod 1 in 5th slot. Plus 50% to the action time of squadron consumables. 5th slot for carriers, if I'm not mistaken, is the same as for other ships. Let's take a look. Hakuryu, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So either concealment, which you don't really need. You can take it, it's useful, but you don't really need it. Especially in high tiers, because most of these carriers have armored decks. And even if you get detected from long range and you're not broadsiding, they can't really hurt you that much. So you would be giving up flight control mode 1, which is aircraft restoration time minus 5%, aircraft deck carrier places available plus 2. Maybe. I can't say yes or no. I would have to test this out. I really can't say yes or no, maybe. Because your heal would last, instead of, I don't know, 5 seconds, it would last like 7.5 seconds. Your speed boost would last a couple of seconds extra. And this is going to be a bit of a boost to planes. Especially the heal. The heal part is going to make you almost invulnerable for additional couple of seconds. So it's not bad. But you're going to get slower reserves. Oh, and fighters. Yeah, fighters are going to spend 50% more time. So instead of a minute, it's going to be like a minute and a half. And I think Wargaming is buffing the time. There was a dev blog post some time ago where they said that they will buff the time of fighters, I think from 60 to 90 seconds. If they buff it to 90 seconds and then you take this, that's additional 45 seconds. Those fighters are going to be in the air for like 2 minutes and 15, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be like the entire smoke. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass here, but I can't. I know there was something. I think there was something. Either way, between 90 and 200 and something seconds, 100 and something seconds, yeah, it's going to be pretty badass. So maybe, I would have to test it. Updates to service record. In order in which in-game possibilities unlock have been changed, the number of battles required to reach the majority of service record level has been reduced. Great. So now people who start the new account are going to be progressing faster through the levels, which means it takes you less skill to unlock more shit and participate. Great. The rewards granted for opening various levels of the service record have been updated. Please note all players who started playing before the release of Update 091 will receive all the newly added rewards for the levels they have already reached, minus the rewards they have received in older version of the service record. Yeah, dudes, you can use my code if you do want to start a new account or if you do want to get into the game. Make sure in the link below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Twitch, it doesn't really matter. You use the link to get a Kickstarter. You get some goodies, I get some goodies. And then I can later on basically reward the top dudes. I guess everybody's going to get this. It's pretty nice, I guess. 1 super container, 15,000 coal. Yeah, sure, okay. Any players who already reached a farm, blah, 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 receive armory. When update 091 hits, the shipbuilding tokens will be converted into credits at the rate of 1 token, 7,500 credits. Unique historical commander Philippe Aubeneau has been added. I cannot pronounce that. He's available in exchange for 175,000 coal. He has unique perks of sparks of resistance, fully armed, and speed of composure talents as well, blah, blah, blah. Effective as of the release of Update 093, the following ships will no longer be available in the armory: Smolensk, Jean Bart, Neustrashimy, Flint, and Black. For those of you who missed it, Smolensk and Jean Bart are getting removed indefinitely, as far as I remember, from the armor. You will no longer be able to get them because new ships are coming, and God knows when are they going to come back. If I have to recommend, I would recommend you to get both of these ships because Smolensk is the most broken, overpowered, toxic piece of shit in the game, and I would be a hypocrite to tell you not to get it because this thing is so powerful and so easy. Why would you not have equal amount of fun as setting the world on fire like everybody else does? It would just be hypocritical of me to tell you not to. However, Jean Bart is my favorite ship in the game. This thing is beyond fun, and like 99% of people who got it, based on my feedback or recommendation, they were very happy and satisfied with it. Now, Strashimy, Flint, and Black are not exactly very popular, and they're removing them. And I think all 3 of these ships are available right now for steel. And I believe they said that they will be coming at least half a year, 6 months has to pass, and then at some point they will bring it back for coal. So if you're not super eager on getting these ships now, just wait. Save your steel for something else like Yashima. I think Yashima will be coming in for steel to replace some of these, which is a 510mm Yama pretty much, with only 6 guns. And get these later when they come back for coal. Like, I already have these 2. This is one of the last ships that I don't have. I do have the steel for it, but now I think I'm just not going to waste it. Smolensk and Jean Bart have become very popular warships for their tiers. In order to maintain the proper level of this diversity in teams in terms of ships they're made up of, these ships will no longer be available to obtain for an undefined period of time, but may return in future for a number of reasons. Especially Flint and Black, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck? Nope. Second cam just fell. Okay. I thought the cat maybe pulled the cable. What, in other words, what Wargaming is trying to tell you is Smolensk is OP, just not the OP you think. OP doesn't stand for overpowered, it stands for overpopular. What else? New Northern Waters map. We're getting a new map, okay? New map is designed for tier 8 to 10 battles in the epicenter and domination modes with 3 key areas. Thank God for no standard. Battles will be fought in the harsh northern territories among snow-blanketed islands where the sun appears, blah blah blah. The map is divided into 3 parts. The western part, okay, let me take a look at it myself. Oh yeah, this is the map that reminds me of, very much reminds me of the Warrior's Path. Like this part here is a blatant copycat of Warrior's Path. And then instead of having 2 islands that block here, they just made 20 small ones. From what I've seen on these images here, all of these islands are pretty tall, so they might actually be useful to hide behind, at least destroyers, so I'm happy about that. And there's going to be plenty of cover. This cap is going to be somewhat tricky, and this cap reminds me of the A cap on Trap. Modified a bit, of course, but yeah, it looks like a copy of a couple of maps, but I don't know, we'll see how this is. I'm definitely looking forward and thumbs up for new maps. I think they should definitely focus on making new maps, new modes, new operations, new stuff, and not just new ships. And if they are gonna make new ships, for fuck's sakes, give us ships that we really want and need and miss, like Italian Navy, for example. Even if it's shit, for the love of God. These are the images from the new map, and it very much reminds me of the smaller map, one of the first maps in the game. Like the sea cap, very isolated. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, very much reminds me of that map. Besides this. And this is the bunch of those small islands that I was talking to you about. One cap is going to be in the middle. So, yeah, we'll see. It looks like a copy of a lot of maps, pretty much. And a bunch of other changes that I don't have the energy to really go through now. Oh god, we have new dev blog posts that just came out. Okay, British Heavy Cruisers branch review and service record changes. Oh, this one is short. We updated service record and the new rewards you can earn for completing it in 091. Beginners will now need to play fewer battles to gain access to the main game features, and the updated rewards will make this progression easier. Please note, players who started playing before, this is what I just read actually. Yeah, we've already been that. I'm not happy about, I'm not happy about a lot of things Wargaming does, but that's just me. It seems like they're really trying to lower the skill required to be pretty much anywhere. Like, if you reduce the time and the effort that you need to spend in this game to play at any level, then you're reducing the skill. It's just, that's how it goes. That's how it works. Features of the ship branch, blah blah blah. This is what we already know. Okay, tactics. I don't need you to tell me the tactics Wargaming. All right, cool. I'm sure you can watch this on your own. Okay, well, what do I tell you? What do I tell you, dudes? This has been, Jesus Christ, almost 3 hours. I knew I was going to spend a lot of time on my stream talking about all the dev blog posts that came out in the last couple of days, because I absolutely wanted to go through them myself. I knew that you guys would want me to go through it, and you guys wanted my opinion, and you wanted to see. And the short conclusion is we're gonna have to wait and see, because as I'm sure a lot of you are not sure, I'm not sure myself. It was an experience, yes it was. Like, I'm not exactly sure what to think about some of these features. About some features I'm glad, about some features I'm really not glad, and about some features I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna impact the game. We pretty much need to wait and see. The IFHE changes is basically high caliber guns are getting high caliber gun cruisers are getting hit hard. Low caliber guns cruisers are getting hit not a lot, which I think is the mistake. It should be the other way around. They should really hit the low caliber cruisers and slightly maybe touch high caliber cruisers, or not even touch them at all, because they're not the ones, they are the problem. The small caliber ones are. Yeah, like they're buffing IFA, they're buffing penetration of cruisers pretty much, so that you don't need IFHE to pen what you're now penning with IFHE, which is a straight up buff. But then they're upgrading the armor of battleships a bit, which is still not going to keep them safe if you do decide to take IFHE. It's just the fire chance is going to be a bit lower, which is something that I am happy about. We're getting a whole bunch of new Russian ships, from which a couple are... I don't know, maybe one or two. One seems balanced. The other one seems like it might be balanced, but I'm gonna hold my breath. And the others seem straight up broken. Like, you don't need to be a genius to see that they have everything. Like, almost everything. You remember that bubble gum that I was talking to you about? Like, you stretch it on this side and it's overpowered. You stretch it on that side and it's underpowered. Well, you have to stretch it in both directions for the ship to be balanced. And for me, it seems like some of these Russian ships, you're stretching it in the overpowered section, and then you pull so hard, then this hand actually goes into this direction instead of this direction. And it seems like you have powerful with a bit of powerful. I don't know. So some of these things are simply not balanced, completely broken, and straight up bullshit. Now, these are everything we just went through, or most of the things we just went through. Yeah, long thingy. It's preliminary, it's initial, it's subject to change, it's heavy work in progress. We didn't even get to test it ourselves yet. Yes, I understand. It just blows my mind that Wargaming even puts these things on their inner testings with, or whatever the hell they do with these kind of stats. Like, Jesus. Like, wow, why? Why do you even need to put this? Everything needs to be nerfed across the board. Like, everything needs to be nerfed. Not a couple of features, not one feature. Everything needs to be nerfed, and then it might be balanced. Then it might be okay. And then we'll see if it's too strong or not. I don't know. This is just... I don't know why they do it like that. I think it's easier for them to do it like that, but it just destroys us as outside observers who are looking at this and be like, they're just dropping nukes of overpoweredness on us, and we're like, dude! And they just happen to be Russian as well, which is... If they weren't Russian, at least you wouldn't be able to point the finger and say, Russian-biased mother truckers. You cannot hide anymore. This is straight up bias. This is ridiculous. Why are you not doing this for other ships? At least people wouldn't be able to say that. But when you put a light cruiser that's got everything, and it's stronger than a heavy cruiser basically in every aspect, and the aspects that the other one doesn't even have, and it sails under the Russian flag, you kind of have question marks above your head. It's like, dude, you're not really giving us much to work with here. You're pointing the finger at yourself. Like, I would very much love to fuck off from the Russian bias.
All you potatoes in chat who said Midway was a good movie owe me 2 hours of my life back. It was about as good as the Soviet ships are balanced.
I didn't watch the movie myself. Thank you for 15, Gnar. Appreciate it. Like, I would very much like to fuck off from the whole Russian bias thing. But sometimes they give us this thing and you look at it and you just... Can you blame people? Seriously, can you blame people? It makes as much sense as a Romanian navy that has these ships. It's pretty close. Like, it's pretty close. Anyway, I will be uploading this to YouTube as well, so for all of you dudes who are watching this on YouTube, and in fact I think I'm going to be actually premiering this so that I can interact with people while they're watching the video, because this is going to be like a 3-hour video, almost 2.5. Yeah, I sure hope you enjoyed this, and Romania don't have a navy. Really, dude? Some people. I think that joke just flew right above his head. He didn't catch it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about this. I'm a bit sad and a bit disappointed at myself that I lost my temper, because Monday and Tuesday I take my days off, and the more time passes by, the more I'm getting used to actually having 2 days off work, because I used to stream like 7 days a week. And I can do some YouTube videos, I can take some time off, I can do some IRL stuff. And all of this was going on while I was on my 2-day period break. That sounds wrong when I say period. And I wasn't giving a shit. But I was reading and listening to everything in the background, and I was just super happy that I didn't get this flashed in my face, because I knew I would explode like everybody else. And I was so glad that I had like 2 days to actually go through this on my own, bit by... Well, I did go through some things, read some things, I watched the videos. I didn't actually examine everything in detail, especially the ships. I wanted to do that live, because all of these dev blog posts, I want to do them live and have real, like, original reactions. I don't like faking anything. Carlo, thank you for the sub. Life of Carlo. And welcome to the team, dude. And but some of the things I wanted to make sure that I understand, like IFHE changes myself before doing it live. And I knew that the Russian ships are gonna be bad. And in fact, Wargaming has stated since, if I'm not mistaken, that some of these things are definitely wrong, like accuracy, concealment. So it's kind of hard to really judge what these ships are going to be like based on what we saw, based on the stats. But everything listed in those stats about certain ships is absolutely broken. It's not just 1 or 2 things and they said like, yes, we're changing this, don't worry.
Thanks for the breakdown, really helped a lot.
I'm glad it did, dude. Thank you for 2. But like everything is straight up broken. So I seriously hope that Wargaming gets to their senses, takes these ships and remolds them into something that we can work with, because this is just ridiculous. That's my opinion. But you let me know what you think, and thank you for watching and all the support. You guys are awesome.